According to numerous research from multiple large public health bodies and universities across the world, over three-quarters of the world are deficient in omega-3 fatty acids. In this video, I'm going to aim to tell you exactly why this is happening, not just in your country, but the whole world, and also what this might actually mean for your health. Okay, so initially you might hear that statement and you think that the solution is simple. If we eat more fatty fish, then we have more higher omega-3 fatty acids and the deficiency disappears. Because through most governments and public health advice, we are being told to eat more fatty fish. And people are doing that. So why are we still deficient? Well, there's actually three reasons exactly why we are still deficient worldwide despite eating more fatty fish in our diets. The first reason is fish farming, second is fish feeds, and the last reason is modern diets. So let's get into each one. Okay, so our industrial fish farming system. As you can see on the right, we have fish that are taken out of their natural environment and they are monitored in cages. This is called hatcheries. Cages, ponds, all kinds of confined environments. This is how we keep large scale amounts of fish controlled and feed them whatever the people who farm them want to. So let me explain first of all how it naturally works for, let's say, a salmon. A salmon starts in fresh water, right? That's where they're born. They go through a period of smoltification, which is where they adapt to change to go to the saltwater ocean. And the saltwater ocean is where they'll gain 95% of their nutrients and body mass, which includes omega-3 fatty acids. They'll eat fish like herring, sand lance, krill, shrimp, plankton, gain all these natural sources of omega-3s, and they'll have more room to exercise because there is no cage. Their ocean is their cage. There's endless space to run, to exercise. And this leads to a leaner, firmer, and more nutritious salmon. Whereas the farming salmon, as you can see in the images on the right, compared to the wild salmon, the color is different. There's less flesh on the salmon. And yeah, in the farming system, there's very limited natural nutrient exposure. They're fed formulated pellets instead of actual live fish full of natural nutrients. And obviously this is done for commercial reasons and economic scale. And finally, they obviously have restricted movement, which means a higher fat content, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it alters the texture and composition from its natural state. Okay, so let's compare the diet of a farmed fish and a wild fish, specifically salmon. So the processed feed on the left, as you can see, this is what majority of farmed fish are fed. These pellets contain with fish meal, plant oils, and artificial binders, which obviously isn't its natural diet. And this alters the omega-3 to omega-6 balance, and it's designed for rapid growth and cost efficiency, and not necessarily with the intentions of optimal nutrient quality for the fish and nutrient quality for you, the consumer of the fish. Whereas a wild fish in nature would be eating much smaller fish, as you can see, herring, shrimp, squid, capelin, natural rich sources of omega-3s, and a more natural fatty acid balance. And so fish are what they eat, and so are you. What are we eating? What are humans in the West, the Western world, eating today? Well, they're actually eating a very deficient omega-3 diet. One which actually favors omega-6s a lot more than omega-3s. So the average Westerner, from numerous research, has found that the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, or omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, is between 15 to 1 and 20 to 1 for the average Westerner, where the ideal ratio is 1 to 1, or a maximum of 4 to 1. Now, the fatty acid balance influences the cell membranes and inflammatory signaling pathways. I'll get onto this more of the science on the next slide of why this is very important. But ultra-processed foods, which is very common in the modern Western diet, as you can see with like meal deals, all kinds of snacks, sweets, seed oils, these are all consistently linked to chronic inflammation, and they are rich in the omega-6 fatty acids, which in moderate amounts is fine, but it's when it becomes too much omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, that's when problems start to arise. There needs to be a balance of the 1-to-1 or the 4-to-1. And wild fish would naturally provide a more balanced fatty acid profile than farmed fish. So why might this be a problem for human health? Well, human cell membrane function, it relies and it depends on this healthy omega-6 to omega-3 balance. And when we have omega-3 deficiency, like we do worldwide, it shifts the body towards chronic inflammation. As you can see here in this diagram, normal cell function, when you're in a balance of 3-to-1 or lower, nutrients get in easily, the waste products, they come out easily, the toxins, they leave easily. Whereas when you have high omega-6 and low omega-3s, the waste products, the toxins, they slowly release from the cells and they stay in there for longer. As well as that, triglycerides, bad blood flats, they rise, and this is consistently associated with the risk of stroke and heart disease. Also, poor brain function. I've experienced this myself. Before I came to this conclusion, I started finding more solutions that have more omega-3s. Just bad, mental health, depression. Omega-3s is very important for brain health, and it's always consistently shown to be very important for feeling happy and reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety. And chronic low-grade inflammation overall. So what can you do about this? How could the world get by this situation? I mean, you can't hunt your own wild fish unless you do. Not most people do. So what are you going to do to increase your omega-3s? And is there ever a way forward around this? Well, if you wanted to increase your own omega-3 intakes, you can obviously go to farmer's market. You can, depending on where you live in the world, you can obviously get your own fish. But for the average person who have probably, budget and money restrictions, even at farmers markets, wild fish, wild salmon is very expensive. You can still, with canned salmon like sardines, mackerel, you can still get very high amounts of omega-3 fatty acids. So canned options can be practical and an affordable source. The source and the feed quality also influences the nutrient quality, nutrient content. So you got to be careful of exactly where the source of the fish has come from and the feed quality, which is why most supermarket fish isn't effective for omega-3 fatty acids, because they're just not fed natural fish, which would provide them with the EPA and DHA. So those are the 3 reasons why we're all deficient in omega-3 fatty acids. And I'll see you guys in the next video.